Hello guys, I wanted to make this quick video going over some of the stuff that I am been working on this week and am going to continue working on throughout the weeks or however long it really takes for me to finish what I'm doing right now. You're gonna see if you saw from my old videos that the way I used to study drawing was like pretty unstructured, so to say. Basically I would just like I would find references on Pinterest or anywhere else or from real life, and then just try to draw them like what I see, or I would find like random YouTube videos and then try to take their tips. I was kind of like all over the place on what I did. It was really like basically like whatever popped up in my recommendations and whatever I felt like doing for that week. But yeah, so I kind of changed my methods from that. So I decided to finally take this book back from my sister. I gave her this book as a gift, but I don't think she ever used it because it's kind of like somewhat technical. Um, Not to say that she's stupid or anything. I just don't think this book would really like interest her at all. But I took it back, and the reason I took it back is because I kind of wanted like I kind of like books like this where it's um I like books and courses where it kind of like it just takes your hand, and then if you just follow everything that it shows you and work through all the issues within the course or the book, then you come out the other side like better. So I like that beside as opposed to just randomly doing whatever I want. So I'm gonna share with you guys some of the things I've been working on in this. I'm not really that far into the book. I think I've like made it to like the ellipses on there, so it's like chapter 4. But I've learned a lot, and it's a pretty interesting book. So, but it's very, I mean, obviously, if you know the book, but it's very like perspective focused and like, oh, I wish this would focus. It's like it's like pure white on the screen, isn't it? But um, maybe I'll throw up some images on screen of like some of the pages of this book so you get like a better idea of what I'm talking about. But I learned a lot, so I'm gonna share with you guys some of the stuff that I've learned. Um, First of all, which I would was one of the biggest things I learned from this book was literally just like how to draw a straight line. So I literally had to get this out of order. Like you can see this whole stack. Or maybe you can't see. Kind of sad, but those are your ellipses. Hold up. Here we go. From like here down, this whole stack is literally just like me drawing lines and really focusing on using my wrist, or not my wrist, my elbow to draw everything now instead of using my wrist because I have a very limited range of motion. So thanks to that, I'm very comfortable drawing straight lines like at will, like wherever I need them. So that was really huge for me. And then after that, I learned how to. Man, I wish I would have structured this video a little better. Structured everything better, but how to mirror. I wish this would like actually show, not like. Can you guys see? Yeah, how to mirror objects in perspective. So mirroring tilted planes on a mirrored plane, um, and really just using perspective to help out a lot. So hold on, I'm gonna try to see if this here. I'm just gonna show like 2 examples of what I'm talking about. So like this right here, how you are mirroring this one plane right here, and you're trying to mirror it through onto the other side, which you can see here too. And it takes some getting used to as like a beginner to like draw all these lines in perspective and then to use, like, go step by step and know how to mirror correctly. But you can see I didn't really draw the perspective that well in this, so it kind of like it gets a little lopsided. I changed my strategy later on to compensate for it by just drawing on my iPad, because on your iPad on Procreate you can actually just put the perspective grids in, so you don't have to like make up your own. Which another workaround for that as well is I just made my own perspective grid, and then what I do is now is you just put a piece of paper over it, and you probably can't see, but you can see through it. At least I can. You can see through it, and then you could just mark over it as like an overlay, which is honestly kind of cheat codes that I never thought of that before. What else? But yeah, I learned how to, mirror and then make objects like this, where you start with the ground plane, and then you create the middle section, and then you draw these lines up and use this line to like guide where you want to go, and then you use the mirroring technique from earlier to mirror one side to the other side, so it's actually symmetrical, like this. And then another example I could show is on my iPad, this thing that I tried creating as well. Hopefully it focuses. Yeah. So yeah, I learned how to do that. And one thing that was really surprising about this book that I did not expect to be like so difficult was drawing ellipses. Like I thought drawing ellipses was literally just gonna be like, oh, you just draw a circle, but it's really just like skinnier. It's gonna be an oval. No, it was so much more than that. I was humbled. Say, just because drawing ellipses, like, obviously easy enough, but drawing an ellipse and then using it to help you for certain things in perspective. And if anyone's really like dived into perspective, not even that deeply, even like a surface level, and use ellipses, they would kind of know what I'm talking about. Of the degrees of the ellipse, the minor axis, the using the ellipse to make a square in perspective, and then placing the ellipse within, like, you have to like create a box in perspective, and then the ellipse has to always touch the top portion of the box and the bottom portion of the box, and then it has to touch the two sides that are like near the middle, but then it also has to go through the minor axis, and then drawing that freehand and not making it so messed up that like it throws everything else off is it's pretty difficult. And I literally spent like 2.5 days just literally drawing ellipses and trying to get ellipses down, and it is difficult. I am humbled, because you use ellipses for stuff like create. This isn't even crazy, but like you see what I'm talking about. Like, you use these ellipses and you have to put them in perspective, and then you have to use the ellipse to rotate other objects. And I'm getting like used to doing this, but doing this for the first time kind of like really throws you off. And this is the part where I kind of not stopped, but like where I stopped and then started making this video. And it just starts to get a little crazy after this, because I'm excited, but like it looks pretty intimidating, because you have like, you just think it's an ellipse and you have all this other stuff going on, which is just absolutely, it just looks crazy. Like, like when you haven't done something before, and then you're just looking like into the future, and then the whole thing just looks complicated, but then afterwards you do it and you're like, that wasn't so complicated. Like, I don't know, I was so scared of, but I hope that's the case. I really do. And what I really love about this book is one, it's very it's easy to follow. I mean, the concepts are kind of somewhat simple, but difficult to grasp if you've like never really like dove into this. And another thing I like about the book is that it has these pages where if you scan, you can't see it. I hate this, but this part of the book with an app that you can download online, you can it goes into like the augmented reality mode, and then you can play a video, and it obviously goes full screen, and then it'll literally be the author, Scott Robertson. I think that's him that's doing the voiceover on the videos, but he has videos on his YouTube channel and he has videos on that app that you can follow, and that was super helpful. And then another thing that was super helpful was that there's other YouTubers out there um, that explain these concepts really well. Like I think there was one YouTuber that helped me with like the tilted planes and mirrored them in perspective on the mirror plane was I think his name is like Perspective Guy on YouTube. So thank you for that video. That really helped. And yeah, I think for the time being, I'm going to continue to use this book. I'm going to try to like however long it takes, this is what I'm going to focus on for the next, however long it takes. Just because if you ever seen Scott Robertson's videos of where he draws like these, his drawings, obviously, it just looks so cool. And he can draw from imagination, which is really cool using like um, these techniques, which is super what's the word, appealing to me to do. Like just look at this. Like stuff like this is just so cool to, create from imagination and then using the techniques of like mirroring stuff in perspective or creating forms and stuff like in the back of the book. Like this little thing back here is like where I kind of want to get to eventually. And then he also goes into in this book. It's not just creating stuff like this object or machine thing, which is super cool. It's also like drawing landscapes and a whole host of other things, which I find really cool about this book, which I kind of think is really cool for like a beginner. I think it's kind of intimidating for beginners to go through because it's like all this stuff that kind of doesn't seem related to drawing in a way. It might like overcomplicate things, but if you're a beginner and you make it through this book and go through like all the problems and like troubleshoot your own issues by going on YouTube and really focusing, then I really think that this is like an awesome book to pick up if you were a beginner. And I'm really enjoying this book a lot. I spend like a few hours every day just trying to get through trying to understand these different things and practicing, drawing lines, drawing ellipses, and then putting them into perspective. And it gets a little overwhelming sometimes with the ellipses because it's a little frustrating at times to use. And sometimes there aren't like online tutorials, surprisingly, of how to troubleshoot certain issues with that. So that is everything I'm working on this week and what I've been working on for the past week. That is all. Hold up. That is all later.